Hey everybody, it's Misha. I am here to go over insulin resistance and a number of things that are going wrong with you as a result of it. It's interesting because more and more people are talking about it, and I'm really encouraged to hear more and more physicians doing podcasts and whatnot talking about how if it's not viral or some actually genetic kind of disposition, a deformity, not deformity, but you know what I mean, that it's everything that we suffer from today links back to insulin resistance and the overabundance of insulin in our system. So, yeah, when I make all of these crazy links that people think, oh my gosh, what's she talking about? That woman doesn't know what she's saying, that insulin resistance isn't related to this or that. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, I want you to understand insulin resistance. I want you to understand why you're having it. So, we're going to go over that today. And that hopefully will help you understand why all of these things are happening. I'm going to give you the solution that I used when medicine failed me, when doctors and nutritionists and everybody else were not giving me the answers I needed, when I felt like I tried everything else, including veganism and gluten-free and keto and all of it. What actually worked when nothing else did? We're going to go over that. So, insulin resistance, what I want you to know is that insulin resistance really is at the root of almost all of our problems. 93% of us have some type of metabolic disorder, and that links back to insulin resistance. So when we look at that, why is it important? Because when we look at things like cardiovascular diseases, we have this problem that 95% of high blood pressure is linked to insulin resistance or caused by insulin resistance, hyperinsulinemia, and 80% of cardiovascular diseases are linked to long-term hypertension. That's pretty big links. So if we're talking about saving lives across the world, the one thing that we could really do, looks like my lens is dirty, you guys. That's what's freaking me out right now. Anyway, I'll figure that out. But so if we can fix that one thing and save, what do I say, about 50,000 deaths a year or 50,000 deaths a day. So if we take 20% of those away, now we're looking at 40,000 a day that we could possibly save by addressing insulin resistance. That's why I'm here talking about it and why it's so important to me. I come live every morning and it's a little more social. But right now, what I want you to understand is we're eating food that is imperfect. It's been modified, manufactured, whatever. We have messed with our food as human beings. It turns into glucose in our system too quickly. That produces a need for insulin, which is an energy transport hormone in our body. That constant need for that production of that insulin starts to create resistance in our body of that same hormone. So now we end up being insulin resistant, where our body's shutting down to this hormone that's amazing, that's doing great work for us, but it just can't because our body doesn't want to take it anymore. I always equate it to like the nosy neighbor that's knocked on your door one too many times and you don't want to open that door anymore. That's how your cells start feeling with long-term elevated insulin. And most of us have elevated insulin long-term. Now, there is a test called a HOMA-IR, or a fasting insulin test, right? A number of people have been having that done. My favorite metabolic scientist, Dr. Bickman, has come out to say that it does not give us a good clue all the time. So I've had a number of people reach out to me and say, Misha, I have insulin resistant, my insulin numbers are not, what do I do? Well, then let's just go back to the root cause and address the food that we're getting in and how we're digesting it so that you can hopefully start to feel better. It's pretty simple. Um, this thing, you guys, does not require medications, does not require, in fact, Dr. Fung says you cannot fix a dietary disorder with medications. So why are we waiting? I mean, it's great to go in and check with your doctor. I'm not saying anything against that, but why would you ever say, I know that the food I'm getting is imperfect and that I need to make it more recognizable in my body? And there's a system out there that does that by adding back in what's been stripped out. Why would you ever say, I got to wait to figure out what medication my doctor is going to give me? Because it's going to cause more liver disease, heart disease, thyroid disease, autoimmune disorders, inflammation, all of the stuff. That's why I love the system that I do. This is why I'm here talking about it. So over here, you guys, thanks for for putting up with my craziness, by the way. I love you all for that. And I'm sorry, guys, I can't take it. Um, I gotta find a wipe or something. Yay! In my junk drawer here, because that lens is looking pretty nasty. I just cleaned it, but I don't know what happened. Anyway, so all of these things link to insulin resistance. Sarcopenia. Sorry, guys. Hopefully this makes it clearer. Does that help? A little bit. Okay, sarcopenia, erectile dysfunction. I've gotten messages today. I've got to get back to people. Like, look, erectile dysfunction, PCOS, those are both factors of insulin resistance. So when you get your insulin under control, when your body can start being normal with its functions with your insulin, your testosterone goes back to more normal level, your estrogen goes back to normal levels. You don't have a number of these metabolic infertility issues. I've seen so many men who started the system and within a few months have gotten normal testosterone levels back because they're just addressing the root cause. So, all right, all of these things. This is just some of the things that are linked to insulin resistance, you guys, but everything on this list is linked to it. Now, I know I've had a couple of people kind of come at me because I mentioned autism. So autism and neurological disorders do link to this in the fact that when you're insulin resistant, it's causing more neurological problems. So it can exacerbate anxieties and depressions and sensitivities that you might not have to. And I use the word suffer because I have family members. I myself am on the spectrum. I understand what it feels like when those things are out of control. That's why I talk about it. So those things all link in. But this also, all of these things up here, you guys, all of this stuff is linked to insulin resistance as well. All to this list, Parkinson's, autism. Think about it. If Alzheimer's is being called type 3 diabetes, why wouldn't these other things be linked as well? When we're talking about neurological misfiring and whatnot in the brain, causing anxiety and depression and all that. So gastrointestinal endocrine cancers, skeletal disorders, bone wasting, muscle wasting, inflammation are all linked to insulin resistance, you guys. Okay. Too many messages flashing across my screen over here from other platforms. Okay, so people always say, how do I know if it's me? These are the 5 ways you're going to tell. The first 5 ways, okay, without blood work. If you have hypertension, just bet that you're insulin resistant. Why not start addressing your dietary disorder and see what happens with your blood pressure? Because 95% chance is that it links to your food. So then if you're starting to have skin tags, skin discolorations, and I had this question the other day, and it does seem to be, from what I can find now, that like it doesn't have to be. I have more melanin in my skin because I'm Native American. But so some people's discoloration may not be as darkly pigmented as others. But if you're having that dark pigmentation on your knees, your elbows, in your groin, under your arms, I've seen it around people's necks, on their ankles, even where their shoes are rubbing. That's signs of insulin resistance. Your skin is your first line of defense. So when you start to get sick, your body will give you some little clues. And one of the first places it's going to give you clues is through your skin. Maybe you have cystic acne. Maybe you have skin tags. Maybe you have this acanthosis nigricans or discoloration of your skin. Those are all symptoms that you're having insulin resistance. And then again, PCOS and erectile dysfunction. But some other ways, and this is not all of them, you guys. So, but if you take any of these and are like, ooh, I've got that and that and that, then I would just start addressing the insulin resistance. So bulging belly, the bulging belly is actually coming because you're putting on fat under the muscle wall in your gut, whether you're fat anywhere else or not, whether you're carrying subcutaneous adipose tissue anywhere else or not. If you have that bulging belly, you're already, just count on your insulin resistant. I mean, there are a couple of things that it could be, but I would just start addressing that. Then if you have high triglycerides and low HDL, not LDL, HDL, those are signs. If you have water retention, edema, those are signs, okay? If you're constantly hungry, especially for sugars, salty foods, that's a sign. If you're tired, fatigued, or feel like you get goosebumps. Anybody else get like goosebumps or feel like somebody poured cold water over you after you eat and you're just so tired, you want to just go curl up a blanket? under a blanket and rest, that's insulin resistance. It's insulin resistance. I suffered with it for a long time, don't anymore. But I remember for years I'd be like, why? Every time I eat, does this happen to me? And the doctors I worked with couldn't answer. Nobody answered. I had to go find all this stuff on my own. So I just did a video. What doctor finally figured it out? I'm not a doctor, but Misha figured it out. Okay. So, with the help of the system that I'm going to show you. Okay. So then the other things are migraines, headaches, body aches and pains, things that people are calling fibromyalgia. A lot of that links to insulin resistance. Now there are some nerve disorders that can be causing fibromyalgia, but isn't it interesting that insulin resistance causes atrophy in those nerve connectings? That can also is why that we're saying that that can be caused by that. If you have a spinal injury or whatnot, that can cause some fibromyalgia. Nothing that the products or insulin resistance is going to do with that, except for helping the insulin resistance so it's not exacerbating the problem. Okay, so then when we take a look at what do you do, right? I'm trying to go through this quickly because somebody says I ramble, and I know I do. All right, look, most of the solutions we get are things like doing calorie counting. Calorie counting is old news, guys. Science is more and more showing that that is not the way to do this. If you're just looking at calories and saying, I'm cutting calories, you're actually causing more harm to your metabolism than good. I mean, if you're actually eating double of your calories or whatever, yeah, I get that. But if you're on a normal person eating around 2,000 calories a day and you're trying to drop down to 1,000 calories to lose weight, you're going to shut down your metabolism. And I've just learned that that happens for a period of 4 to 6 years, that your metabolism is now down regulated. Who wants to do that? You're going to suffer and you're probably going to gain all that weight back. It's probably what happened to me because I listened to all that advice in my 20s and then I started getting heavy and I was like, what the hell happened? Okay. So there's all these other things and you just start feeling frustrated, like what the hell? Because none of them are really addressing the root cause, except for maybe keto and intermittent fasting. But what happens if you find that you can't do keto and intermittent fasting and you need some help? That's partly what the system helps with. By the way, I did keto, was never able to do intermittent fasting, but I did keto for years and still was having problems with insulin resistance. And the problem with most of the diets that we're having is that we're relying on willpower, and willpower is not enough. We have a finite amount of willpower in our bodies. We do not have enough to deal with the onslaught of food and everything else that we have going on in our lives today. Look, we go in, we deal with our job, our coworkers, our kids yelling at us, our spouses yelling at us, the traffic to and from. Where do we have any willpower left to deal with our food choices? We don't. Most of us just don't. And yet we're surrounded with fast food, burgers, pizzas, chicken sandwiches, whatever, everywhere, and we all cave. We're like, I'm so tired, I'm so stressed, I just want a normal life. So we cave and we have some of those foods, and then we're like, I'm such a failure. I shouldn't have done that. I'll do better tomorrow. And we start out to do better tomorrow. And yeah, we don't end up eating the same way. So you're either running on insulin. Thank you. I can't read your name. But you're either using fat for fuel or you're using insulin for fuel. So you'd have to ask your doctor that. I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you what your normal markers are. Now, if you want to do a test, because it's widely published on NIH, Dr. Bickman talks about it. So if you're doing a fasting insulin test, talk to your doctor about what the normal marker for you is, because you're going to have an order for that anyway. But if you want to take a look at the current labs you have and decide, could this be you? What you want to do is find your triglycerides, find your HDL. Remember those two numbers that I said? If the triglycerides were high and the HDL is low, those are indicators. So take the triglycerides, divide it by the HDL. Now, ideally, that number is 1.5 or lower. If it's 2 or higher, you need to start paying attention. If it's 3 or higher, you better start paying attention. And somebody called me the other day and said, did you know that that number also is indicative of heart disease? Yes, it is. Do you know why? What that number is actually telling you, I've done the video many, many times. Your LDL comes in 2 different sizes. There's a size A, which is big and buoyant, and there's a size B, which is smaller and wants to sink to the bottom of your blood vessels and stick kind of to the corners and walls of your blood vessels, and that's where your cholesterol buildup is coming from. What this calculation does is it gives them a better idea of which type of LDL is floating through your system. Now, insulin resistance encourages more of that small molecular type B lipid of your LDL than it does the big buoyant one. So that's what that calculation, yes, it's telling you if you're insulin resistant. Yes, it's telling you if you're at risk for heart disease. And remember I said that 95% of high blood pressure is linked to insulin resistance. Cholesterol is good for you. Dietary cholesterol is good for you. It's not, it's that type of cholesterol, like from eggs, from the saturated fats, those are not what's causing you damage. It's the excess sugar that's causing the cholesterol to be sticky and cause that buildup in your veins. Okay, so yes, it comes down to the sugar, the sugar, the sugar, the sugar, the sugar. Okay, and how quickly that sugar is hitting our system, because it's not just the sugar, it's what insulin is doing with the sugar and the and the amount of insulin in the system. So one of the other things that this high sugar, high insulin thing does is create a lot of inflammation. I love that you're so versed. It causes a lot of inflammation in your body. So you can think about inflammation being things like your joints being swollen, right? That kind of inflammation. But I want you to also think about what's going on inside your body. Thank you, Crystal, so much. So if you're having inflammation that's showing up, like for me, my knees were starting to swell up and I couldn't see my kneecaps anymore. My ankles were swelling as I was getting edema. Never had cankles till I got diabetic. Even my wrists and my arms, my elbows were swelling. Those are the visible forms of inflammation, right? So if you have that much inflammation that you can see it in those areas, you have to understand that your cells inside your body are inflamed as well. And that means there's inflammation around your liver, your kidneys, your heart, your pancreas, your lungs, your stomach, all of it is inflamed. And you wonder why you're feeling sick. Insulin resistance causes a lot of that inflammation through a number of different reasons. So the interesting thing is when you get the insulin resistance under control, a lot of the inflammation goes down, the cellular inflammation can come down. Now you're more likely to be able to take up other hormones, okay? And you're starting to have less headaches, less fatigue. All of that starts to get better by addressing the insulin levels in the body. Now, if you're eating every 2 hours and you're eating food that's converting into sugar too much, you're not going to get that insulin down, right? So I want to cry and pray and beg and plead and throw a fit when I see people on here telling people to eat every 2 hours. I'm like, you're destroying these people's metabolisms. And the science, the current science says exactly what I'm telling you. It says that intermittent fasting is actually really good for you. You have to get fat adapted. You have to get adapted to using your fat. Now, most of us today, fasting is one of the big keys, right? Fiber is the other key, though. So fiber is what's going to slow down those sugars when you do eat from converting into insulin or to glucose and demanding insulin too much, right? So we've got to shut the insulin down, but then when we do eat, we've got to keep the insulin down. So fasting is one big key that allows the insulin to come down and allows us then to access our fat stores. Big clue for everybody. When you are in an insulin fed state, you cannot burn fat. You cannot break down fat and you will store fat. Okay. So if you're looking to lose some weight, looking to lean up, looking to get all this done, you've got to get insulin down, and you can't do that if you're eating every 2 hours. Okay. Well, we're not even going to deal with the pizza and the burgers and all that stuff. Just eating every 2 hours is going to create this insulin fed state that's causing all of these problems. So one of the things is, and I want you all to understand too, that I have people who are vegan, who are pescatarian. Look, this is what our carrots used to look like. This is what they look like now. Okay. The middle one is what our watermelon used to look like, what it looks like now. Corn, same thing. Grains, you see all the layers that are being stripped out. So what's really happening is that they're stripping our foods of nutrients that we need in order to digest our food. Okay. So some of those things, the fiber especially, is slowing down the sugar into our system. Our fruits are especially dangerous that they've been so modified because it delivers way too much fructose to your system, and fructose converts through the liver and stores as fats in the liver, whereas some of the other sugars do not. Eggs, meat, and cheese. That's great, but I do fruits. I just pay attention to the fruits I eat. Watermelon has some good components in it. I haven't had watermelon in a while. Would I have it if it was on the table? Yes. I just wouldn't have it every day. The fruits that I will eat, if I were to eat fruits every day, which I don't, I mean I do now, but I don't eat an abundance of fruits, are berries of any kind and pears. So yeah, like my meal today, early this morning, I had my first meal at like 9:30. It's now 3:30. So what is that? 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30. It's been 6 hours since I ate, and I'm just now starting to feel hungry. What I had for breakfast was no nitrate sausages, a couple of eggs over easy, and a pear. And I was stuffed. But I also had my fiber first because the fiber then went in, started making me feel full or quicker before I ate. Drink this down. I set a timer for 10 minutes. It usually, with my breakfast at least, means when I'm done cooking is about the time my timer goes off and says you can eat, and it just is perfect. I have it down. So right at that 10 minutes, I can just grab my plate, go sit down, have my breakfast, and eat. But it is fiber first, prioritize proteins, right? The sausage and the eggs. Get in healthy fats. I didn't add avocado today, which I should add that back in, or some MCT oils. And then limit your carbs. So my carbs this morning were pears. I haven't talked about this for a while. You guys, most people don't understand that carbs are carbs. People think that it's just sugary cookies, cakes, breads, rice, pastas that are carbs. If we have three macros in our diets, okay, so you either have proteins, you have fats, or you have carbohydrates. So if it's not a protein or a fat, then it is a carbohydrate, right? So any form of carbs, the sugar from vegetables turns into different form of glucose in the system, spikes your insulin less. The sugar from fruits spike it higher, okay? And then especially if they're a lower fiber fruit, it spikes it much higher. So, and it takes a variety of fibers, specific fibers, to help bring your blood glucose down or to keep that food from converting into sugar in your system and keep it from spiking your insulin. That's why I use this little ditty, because I don't have to go figure out which one of those foods that I need to eat or combination of them I need to eat before I have my protein. Yeah, I love berries. When my grandson's here on the weekend is usually when I have berries, and we both love raspberries, but I also love blueberries, especially wild caught blueberries. So we'll have those on the weekends when he's here. But he's been watching me eat pears. So at first he wouldn't eat them, and he was like, "Ew." And then the next day I was on a live and I went out to see, and he had eaten one of my pears, which I don't care because it's healthy for him. So this is the system that I talk about. I'm going to show you guys right now what the fiber is and what the tea is that I do in the morning. That's the system, the protocol that's helped me with my insulin resistance. Okay, so those 6 simple principles that I was alluding to just now, and I'll try and make it quick because I know I get off track. So I'll try and make this quick through this part, and then we can come back and chat, okay? So the 6 simple principles that I do alongside the protocol. Now, if you're in a country where it's not available, you just don't feel like you have the money available, do these 6 simple steps. I've written an ebook on it. You can go to my link that I'll show you in a few minutes, and you can get that ebook, and it will tell you these things anyway. Of course, it's going to be much quicker, and you're going to have an easier go if you are able to do the protocol. So it's fiber first, then prioritize protein, fill with healthy fats, and I'm going to go over those. The fats are also listed in the ebook. Healthy proteins are listed in the ebook. Control your carbs. I don't care whether it's cakes, cookies, fruit, control your carbs. Those should not be the biggest portion of your meal. We're going to turn that old food pyramid upside down right now, okay? Then you want to watch the clock or do some intermittent fasting, and then move your body. So I am going to admit that I have been far too sedentary lately because I sit at this desk and I do work all day long. And, I've been guilty of not moving. So I'm really making an effort of taking several long walks throughout the day in the morning and in the evening. But I just want to move my body, do some Qigong, some shiatsu when I can. So just move your body. It doesn't have to be moving crazy, heavy weights. Okay, so I said I was going to keep it brief. Okay, so this is the protocol I'm talking about. It's a tea that I have in the morning, a pre-meal drink that I have before anything I eat, and then I implement that time-based eating or intermittent fasting. I did 16 hours of fasting from last night to today, and then I'm eating within a 6 to 7 hour window, and then I won't eat again till tomorrow. So why we do that, I'm going to go over this really quick too, is why we do this is when you have your meal around 6 p.m., if that's where you're at, and it takes about an hour for you to get into a fasting mode, and then another couple of hours before your blood sugar starts to normalize. So you can say about 4 to 6 hours before your blood sugar normalizes, depending on how much carbohydrates you ate. Then it's about 8 hour point before your insulin levels drop and what I call go to sleep, so that you can get into a fat burning mode. Insulin likes to hold on to things. It likes to build things up. Glucagon likes to burn things up. So insulin's not going to let glucagon come out to play until it is done with its day. That now when glucagon comes out, this is the important part we're in right now. We're starting to build up the locomotion of the other side of our story, so our digestive system can reset. Our fat burning starts to happen. We start to have ketones and HGH. But most of us wake up in the morning and we start to eat breakfast right when glucagon has come out to play. And now we've shut everything down and we're back to using insulin for energy. And that means fat storage and no fat burning. So that's 16 hours. By the way, a good time frame for fat burning is between 14 and 16 hours. 12 hours if you can make it, and then work up to 16 hours, because after that 14-hour point, great. Before that, you've had the digestive system reset. You've had this stuff go on. You're hopefully having some more positive bacteria in your gut. But around 14 to 16 hours now, you should be in high fat burning mode and you're actually making progress towards your goals. So you really want to try and get to that 16-hour mark if you can. So this is what it looks like for us. We're having the tea in the morning that helps with the intermittent fasting. It helps with our fat burning. It helps keep our hunger down, gives us mental energy and clarity without destroying your heart rate. Then we have a fiber before our first meal, which I prioritize protein and fats, right? And then I wait 4 to 6 hours, have my next meal, which is the last one here. Some people have busy lifestyles. They have a meal in the middle. Just have another balance in there. But if you're having breakthrough hunger, you can actually, because these are food, you can have an extra yerba mate in the middle to shut your hunger back down and continue to give you energy through the day. Okay, so the tea that I talk about, we take it through a 5-step process. So it's hand harvested. It's not machine harvested. So they're getting the right leaves at the right time to get us the most components out of those that we can get. Then they fire roast it to get those components released from the bulk of the plant, extract it, concentrate it, and then send it to a Swiss lab to purify it to get PAHs, environmental toxins, pesticides, everything off of the plant before we package it and send it to you. So it's extremely pure. And here's the difference with this tea and a regular yerba mate tea. First of all, this you can have at any time. And remember, it's in a packet, so you can drink it just mix it in water. I just tear it open and mix it in water. And by the way, if you do like these things, this can mix right in there. And it makes a different flavor profile. Just makes more of a lemonade profile out of it. 0-calorie drink. If you want to do that, you can do that as well. So, anyway, it gives you all of these things. No crashes, non-addictive, all of that. But the tea has these components in it that are why I get so excited about it. So there's chlorogenic acids. They give you neuroprotective gene expression and antioxidant effects in your brain. Gives you feelings of well-being, supports your healthy blood pressure and glucose levels, and promotes weight loss. That's just one component in a tea. There's 375 times more of this component than in any standard bagged yerba mate tea. And that's what the big difference is. Because, like, you can go get a bagged herbal mate tea, but people aren't going to steep 375 bags of it in a day or twice a day. Not even going to steep 30 bags of it. And then when you do that, you're still getting all those environmental toxins and pesticides. So this is by far and above a different level of product. It's the difference between a Mercedes and a bicycle. Okay, they can't even be compared. So the next one is theobromine. It's best known as the mood boosting molecule found in high quality chocolate. There's 3 times the amount of theobromine in this as in those high quality chocolates. It helps support mood, healthy blood pressure. But then we also they're component of the tea, mate saponins, and they're unique to this plant. They contain, hey, Zuperma, there's triterpenoids, saponins in this that have antioxidant, anti-cancer activities in them. So this is why the tea is so amazing. Okay, then we add in, so that's just the tea that we're doing. The pre-meal drink or the fiber, I'm getting to it now, right? Finally she's getting there. This pre-meal drink is made up of 4 different scientifically made blends, and here's what they are. So these scientific blends, by the way, they're helping slow down that spike of glucose. We'll get past these couple. All right, so the Biosphere proprietary formula is a unique blend that includes 5 different types of fiber, and those fibers help support cholesterol levels and slow the conversion of high glycemic carbohydrates. They slow down the conversion of high glycemic carbohydrates. What that means is that anything that's a high glycemic carbohydrate, and there's scientific studies for this, it turns out high glycemic carb into a medium glycemic carb, meaning those sugars are not delivering to your system so quickly and not causing all that damage in your body. Okay, that's just one component of it. And then the next one is the 7X technology, and that's a specialized blend of plant-derived polysaccharides or viscous fibers. So these fibers are not just fibers, they're soluble and insoluble fibers, and each one, like I said, has a different action in the body. The viscous fibers form a thick gel. They start to coat your gut. They help you start to feel full earlier, and then they create this gel-like substance that makes you feel full and again slows down the delivery of those sugars into your system. So then you have the Cardio Matrix, which is a whole nother batch of plant substances that are good for cholesterol and the digestion, the absorption of cholesterol from your digestive tract. So it makes it more heart healthy. And then we add in a panel of vitamins and minerals specifically for all of this, the digestion and the heart health and the sugar management. So there's things in there like your vitamin B's, your vitamin E, chromium, all of that is inside of this one packet. Okay, so now if you want to know where to get it, you guys over on TikTok, now I lost myself. I lose myself a lot. It's a good thing I also find me, or we'd all be in trouble. I'm gonna set this up here. Okay, on TikTok, you guys just want to tap on my picture at the very top. Then that's going to take you to my profile. Okay, right underneath my profile, you'll see the red lights. Just click on the link below that. If you're on YouTube or you're going to YouTube, just go to my profile on YouTube, Vibrant Living with Misha. There's a link right there at the top of that page. Also on Facebook, same thing, Vibrant Living with Misha. There's a link right there that you guys will all get you to this page where you can order. So the top one is where you order from. You just click on that, and it should say Michelle Fayant at the top, and then you just want to click the Buy Now button. But you make sure it says Michelle Fayant or you're not connected to me. I've had problems with people not doing this, and then they're like, but you're not helping me, Misha. You didn't buy from me, honey. I don't know that you bought. I can't see that. Okay, so 30 tea, 60 of the pre-meal drink, and right now you get to choose. The tea comes in lemon or lemon ginger. Okay, and you can have it hot or cold. The pre-meal drink comes in lime or orange. You drink that right away, but both flavors are good. Neither one are super tart. They're a very They're really tasty, but kind of mild. The orange tastes more like an orange creamsicle, and the fresh lime just definitely has a lime taste to it. I really love it. All right, so then you want to choose whether you're doing one-time purchase or monthly subscription. If you do the monthly subscription, you're saving $5 off, bringing it down to about that $5 a day. You get free shipping, so now you're saving $15 off. And you can cancel that at any time, so there's no risk with it, all right? That's what you want. That's where you're going to find the system and all the goodness that is saving lives and helping change people's lives. So I have a ton of stories of people who have gotten off all their medications, reversed their diabetes, reversed their high blood pressure, lost a ton of weight. I have my champions. By the way, that's me 2 years ago on the left in the blue at almost 270 pounds. This is me over 50 pounds later. And then there's just all of these people. Alexis has gone from a size 14 to a size 6, gotten a number of health issues under control. This dear friend of mine has lost 47 pounds, but completely changed her body composition in about 6 months. And again, depression, anxiety, joint pain is gone. And this, like you guys, I talk about, this is not just if you're heavy or if you're having weight issues. My good friend Christy from Boise will probably always be a bodybuilder and trainer. She's amazing, but she was having some inflammation. We talked about that earlier, and she started the system, and look, it's cut out the inflammation. Plus, she was suffering from some things like diabetes and IBS that she didn't talk about. We would never talk about that stuff. That is better for her now. Jason has lost over 160 pounds now in just over a year, but also got his hypertension, hyperlipidemia under control. Jason, by the way, they were trying to get him to do gastric sleeve surgery because he was getting so big he couldn't walk. He was crabby. He was just not a very happy soul. No surgery for him. Those surgeries are damaging to you, by the way. They're very damaging to your system. So then there's Cindy, who's lost 117 pounds now, got her life back in order, got her husband doing it. He now has reversed his type 2 diabetes, is off his metformin. He's lost a bunch of weight and slimmed down, and is just a much healthier, happier man. Karen has lost over 25 pounds, has reduced her A1C from 11.5 down to almost normal now, plus her sleep apnea, heartburn, chronic fatigue. You guys, Steffi, she has lost about 30 pounds, has 4-pack abs without doing sit-ups. Her ADD is better controlled. Dia has lost over 50 pounds. Cancer survivor, PCOS, endometriosis, mom of a couple of kids, wife, just really busy lifestyle. She's doing good. This young man who's a type 1 diabetic has gotten his life back, lost over 35 pounds with the system at 11 years old, and is doing well now that he's utilizing that. Those are my feet, some swelling in them from a couple of years ago. No more swelling in my feet, no matter how long I'm up. I think that's the last of it. Okay. So it works, you guys. That's all I can say is it works. It's worth a shot. When people say, well, I need to check with my doctor, look, you have a 90-day money-back guarantee. You have coaching from me. You get the low price guarantee, and you get the quality testing guarantee. So literally, you give it 90 days to see what it can do for you. And then if you don't feel like it was worth it for you, you get your money back. If you're only going to do it for 30 days, just don't start. Honestly, just don't start. If you can't commit to yourself for more than 30 days, for 90 days, the duration of that 90-day money-back guarantee, if you can't commit to your health for that time to see what your body can change, then don't even start. Just do us both the favor. I want people who are really committed to their lives, who are going to actually do what it takes, because everybody's in a different place. I get it. If you're not there yet, that's fine. Come in when you are. Listen to me some more. Listen to some other people. Hear about what's going on and make your decision. I've had people wait 3-6 months, a year to make their decision, but every one of them says, I wish I would have made my decision sooner. So this can really change your life. We have it in the hands of some doctors now, cardiologists, neurologists, oncologists, endocrinologists, neurologists who are recommending the system to their own patients now. By the way, if your doctor, because it's you can look it up in the PDR, if your doctor prescribes it for you, you can take that prescription. You have to pay out of pocket, but you can take that prescription and turn it into your insurance. Not every insurance will cover it, but there have been a number of insurances who are covering it because it's in the PDR, because there's scientific validation behind it, and because your doctor is prescribing it. Okay. This is not, they're not going to pay for your Tylenol if your doctor prescribes it, but this is a different level, and a number of insurance companies have been paying for it. Why not? Even if you get part of the money back, it's probably worth it to see what you can do for your health and how much you, much better you can get. So you started 8 days ago, bad allergies, no energy, constipation. Okay. So I don't know if you're getting in enough water. Are you one of my people? Because we really should talk, but I will tell you, when you, I'm not sure if Medicare covers it, Lynn. You can ask them, and you just go to pdr.net, and it's listed in there, Unicity Balance. But all right, so Queen, it's only 8 days. Number one, you've carried a lot of toxins in your system, most likely. Your gut microbiome is most likely jacked, right? And you didn't have, you drink water. I don't know why you would have allergies. I've not heard of anyone having allergies. In fact, the reverse has happened for me. My allergies that were so uncontrolled had me having nasal infections multiple times a year, choking because eosinophils would build up in my throat. I don't have any of those now. You could be having some detox symptoms if you're coming off of a very toxic system. That's very possible. Why you're feeling fatigued. You shouldn't feel fatigued. Constipation is normal. You guys were adding in not a lot of fiber, but high quality fiber in specific ranges to do what we're needing it to do. You can experience some bloating, gas, constipation. You just need to drink more water or slow down on this until your gut gets adjusted. So you want to think about, I'm an ex-athlete, right? So I want to think about, like, if I haven't done squats for a while, hey, Sarah, if I was to go into the gym right now and do even squats with the bar, my legs would be so jacked up in 2 days from now that it would be crazy. Your gut feels the same way because it's not been doing this kind of work before that it should have been doing all along. So you've got to give your body some time. It's been 8 days. Some people have suffered with that for about a month, and then they feel much better. I have people with Crohn's, IBS, gastroparesis who have all gotten better just by sticking to the protocol and allowing their gut to heal. If your gut's full of negative bacteria and you're starting to release some of that, you can feel, even when you do keto, you can get like a keto kind of flu. That's what I would think. Okay. Any other questions? And then if I'm your coach, reach out to me and let's talk about it. If I'm not, you need to reach out to your coach and work through everything with them and have them help you through what's going on. You guys, this is the importance of purchasing it through people who are authorized, because you're going to get that coaching and the support. If you're buying it on Amazon, Walmart, eBay, you're not getting the support or the guarantees. And then you're ended up paying up more for it. So there's that. All right, guys, it is just coming up on an hour, and it's time for me to go get dinner and get a couple of things done. So I'm going to head out. I'll try to be back Sunday. I give myself some grace, but I'll try to be back at 8:30 in the morning and answer more questions. If you have them, bring them. And Queen, there's also, you guys, I'll go back over this. By the way, when you go to any of my profiles, whether it's TikTok or Facebook or YouTube, you're going to get to my landing page here. But let's take a look. So if you go to TikTok, you're going to find it right up underneath my picture, the red lights. There's a link right under the red lights. YouTube, it's right underneath my name on YouTube, and same thing on Facebook. You're just going to come down below the Vibrant Living page on Facebook and you'll find the link there. All of those get you here. If you need to talk to me and have some help and go over personally what's going on with you, there's contact information down there. And I have a lot of people who just want to ask questions before they get started. I get it. There are so many things out there that are scammy, spammy, whatever, and we all get afraid of doing something new. So I have no problem with people asking questions, and I answer questions on that WhatsApp all day long. It's fine. Just reach out to me if you have questions. I'd be more than happy to help. Otherwise, my website is listed up here as well. If you want to just go to my website and check out a bunch of information here, that 6 Simple Steps ebook is found right there as well. And information on the products, both the tea and the pre-meal drink, a lot of science information and videos on those, as well as nutritional labels are all there on my website. Okay, so you guys should all be able to find all the information that you need or feel like you need. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you on the other side and helping you get your health back and hopefully overcoming a number of things that you're suffering with, because the truth is we don't need to be suffering like we are, but we are because we have a crappy food environment. And it doesn't matter how good you think you're eating, you're not getting the kind of food that you think you should be getting. Okay. All right, guys, we'll talk to you in the morning. Have a great night.